Welcome back, folks. This is the Lighthead Online Video Show. This episode of the show is sponsored by Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com. Greg, the Retrofit Kings, Light Made Easy. Love seeing you in Vegas, Josh. You guys keep up the good work. What are we talking about today, Greg?
Well, today, one of the topics that I think is important is education and lighting. And what do you feel is the best way? I mean, there are a lot of programs out there, but what do you feel is the best way to be educated in lighting today? If you're going to be brand new in lighting, how would you want to educate yourself, or how do you educate new employees? Let's put it that way. What's a good way to
I think
do
there's a difference between new employees that are starting out and me.
that?
So I think it's more,
Okay.
I put them through LS1, of course, the nailed training course, and
Yep.
LS2. But for me, in my position, I would probably try to learn as much about Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and internet connectivity, ways to connect to the internet, and computer software programs that gather data from devices like Internet of Things, so fridges, stoves, all this sort of stuff, lighting in the ceiling, whatever. And I would educate myself on big data and analytics. I would consider going to the places, the schools and the industry training of people that work at Amazon or Google or Facebook or Twitter, and see if my lighting knowledge is of use, if I can learn the data knowledge. That's what I would do if I wasn't running a podcast and the Lighthead Online Video Show.
I was just going to ask you, if you said, well, why would you do that, and why aren't you doing that? And so it is two different avenues to look at. If somebody brand new in lighting and somebody with lighting experience, they both are going to have to meet at some point at the same, we don't know a lot about, the Wi-Fi and the connectivity, but you still need that lighting background. I think we have that covered. Everybody can get a basic lighting background, a lot of courses to do that. But then going forward, where do we go? And that's what, so you mentioned some things you would do, some things we should do.
Well, I didn't say I would go to the IES, Greg. Now, I know you would, because I'm not a lighting dork.
Yeah.
And I mean, I say that playfully with everybody knows I love you guys that sell light bulbs every day. Corey Schneider and Brian Huff and Spencer Miles and all the guys in Nailed and all that. You know I love you guys. But I'm just playing. But I don't like to have letters after my name. But I like just my name. But what I'm saying here is that I don't need to learn anything more about lighting because there's nothing to learn right now. Dr. Veach was on the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast, and guys, this is about lighting education. So Lighthead Online Video Show and Get a Grip on Lighting podcast don't compete with one another. There's a fantastic episode with Dr. Veach on that process. She is the foremost, if not the foremost, near the foremost expert on the health effects of lighting. Of Mariana Figueroa and her, probably, I don't know, but you flip a coin, whatever. So both of them spoke to us and said, basically, we don't know anything. We don't know what works in terms of the health effects. We need to redefine color. We need to redefine CRI. All of these metrics that have been in the business for, a century? I don't know how long, a long time, are not really reflecting how light works. And in fact, we don't even know what light is. And so when people come to me and say, educate me about light, I'd say, well, is there something to be educated on? Because I'm technically, yes, ballasts, design, lumen, output, and all this sort of stuff, but I'm past all that. I know how to do all that. For me, there's nothing out there right now except the science and technology section of The Economist or National Geographic or someplace like that where cutting edge research is saying, maybe we think this. It needs to be tested, but, hey, gosh, it sure worked well for these Alzheimer's patients. So that's where we're at. And if anybody's out there selling that, with humping down people saying, hey, you're going to have productivity gains if you change your lights, son, you're a charlatan. Stop doing that now because it's wrong. It's not true. And I'm sorry if you don't like me anymore, but hey, join the club. Lots of people don't like me. But the fact of the matter is that we don't have any proof on that. And that's where I'm following. I'm following the health effects very closely. I'm following the connectivity, and then I made up the matrix. And guess what, folks? The Economist magazine also came out this week with a China versus USA idea. You heard it here first, folks. So if you're an advanced lighting person and you're looking for education like Greg and I are, and you don't have time to do a podcast and meet, Dr. Veach and Dr. Mariana Figueroa, well, you know what? You can listen to everything we talked about anyway. It's all out there. But we don't hide anything. But what you need to start thinking about is security. How can I not tell my clients that they're not going to be spied on by the Chinese government? Or how can I tell my clients that in their home that the state's not going to, the machinations of some agency of some government somewhere, even your own government, is spying on you? How can I assure my customers of that? Because that's a real problem. People think it's not a problem. It's a monster problem. It's illegal for people to spy on you. It's against the law. Okay? And these are very, very, very invasive and insidious technologies. So if you want to be helpful in the business and you want to make a lot of money, health effects of lighting, internet connectivity, IoT, and then security and safety. That would be the ways to make money in this game in the next 5 years, Greg.
I think you hit it all on the head there. Just staying on top of what's to come. A lot of this stuff you can't really sell in today's market. You need to know what's out there now and what's available now, as we do. And that comes by going to shows, by listening to, podcasts, webcasts, webinars, whatever they might be, reading publications. So I still think there's lighting focused avenues that you need to be in to stay up to date with what's new in technology and what's coming. But yeah, I agree with you as a bigger picture to start thinking about things outside of lighting that will start affecting it and are starting to affect it, so that you're ready when you need to be able to talk about it from an educational standpoint and help your customers learn from it. Do
you remember when you first started in the game?
Yeah.
Okay. So remember, do you remember when they came out with frosted par lamps? I don't know if you remember that.
I do. Yeah, those were hot.
It was like, whoa, frosted. Look at that. Well, that's great, right? And everyone was buying ice pars or whatever they were called. 90 ice, 38 flood, 130 volt or whatever, right? It was a woo, right? And you're so wowed by these innovations when you first come in the business. You're like, wow, 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 wow. And yes, LED lighting technology is exciting. And I just said it on another show. It's the most exciting place to be in the world and the most innovative and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, there isn't a lot that shocks me now, Greg, from a lighting perspective. Laser was one of them.
No, you're right. It is something where, there's so much new that's coming. It's transformed so much that it is hard to be, shocked by anything. But the items you talked about are the ones that really is where it's heading and what we need to be looking at and focused on for sure.
So I'm going to make one more comment because I know you want to shut it down there, but I would say that the other thing is that the innovation is kind of a problem because when we talked to Dr. Ma on the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast as well, he was saying that all these problems with each generation of LED tubes, and it's like, we're only 5 years in here and we have 5 generations of one product. We're 6 years in and there's 5 generations of the product. It's like, how do you even know generation 3 works or 5 is better than 3? I mean, there's no time and they're supposed to last for 25 years. And I'm like, well, Jesus, if you did your lighting upgrade in 2014, here's all the mistakes you made. But I thought these things were supposed to last 50,000 hours. Well, 50,000 hours, that's what it is. But you bought it from someone that's only been in business for 8,760 hours, son. You stick with the guys that know it. So on that note, that's the Light Tide Online Video Show, and it's brought to you by a company that's been in business since the Second World War. Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com. Thanks for listening to the Light Tide Online Video Show.